remember the story of Lazarus? Yeah. What strikes me about that story is that of all the miracles, that was really personal to Jesus. Because that was, as we know, that was one of his dearest friends. That meant something to him personally. And so Jesus is out doing the work of the ministry, and they come to him and say, you know, Lazarus is sick. And he shows up a couple of days later, and he's dead. And Mary and Martha come. They lost their brother, their only brother. For women in that day, that was a big deal. You know, he was their caretaker, their source. Yeah. And so they come and they say, Jesus, how could you let this happen? And it says that Jesus groaned in his spirit. And the Lord showed me one day, he said, the reason Jesus groaned is because they really thought there was no chance. He groaned in his spirit because here he is standing in front of them, the resurrection, the life, the one that can make all things new, the one that makes dead things come back to life again. And he's standing right in front of them, and they are accusing him of doing nothing. And he groaned in his spirit. And he winds up saying, take me to Lazarus. And so when they take him to where they put Lazarus, Lazarus is dead, Jesus says to them, take away the stone. Well, he's Jesus. I mean, he's about to bring a dead man to life. Couldn't Jesus have removed the stone? Couldn't Jesus have caused Lazarus to come through the stone? I mean, we know Jesus walked through walls, but they had a part to do. And the Lord reminded me of that. He said, if I'm going to do new things in you and through you, you're going to have a part. I'm going to have your agreement. Take away the stone. Take away the marker. Where is there a marker in your life where you've said, this is dead? This is always going to be this way. In other words, what have you resigned yourself to live with? Because whatever you've resigned yourself to live with, in essence, we've made that a cemetery, and we've put a grave marker there and said, this is dead. Lord, I love you, but my heart is sick because I thought I had your word on this, and here it's not coming to pass. And hope deferred sets in, and we mark it as dead. And Jesus, who says, I am not willing that you should go without, he kind of sneaks in with his love. You know, sometimes his love confronts us. And I think sometimes his love confronts us and said, did you really think this was over? And then he gives us the option, and he says, will you believe me again? Will you take away the stone? And so when they took away the stone, you know, they didn't want to do it. Martha said, Lord, he's been in there 4 days.
He's gonna stink.
You know, yeah, just like a woman, isn't it? It's going to smell bad. It's not going to look pretty. All these people are here.
Right.
And she says, nevertheless.
Wow.
And they moved away the stone, and Jesus sent forth his word and said, Lazarus, come forth. And Lazarus came forth. So I think there are some lessons in there in life, especially for us as women, you know, that we tend to be martyrs sometimes, the martyrs of life. It's fine, I'll go without. It's fine, you know, I'll still do this even though I'm crying on the inside. People say, how are you doing? I'm fine, you know, and we're just half losing it inside. And we can tend to be the martyrs of life. And every now and then that love of God will just confront us and say, hey, I'm not willing that you live this way. Don't mark this thing as dead. You know, remove that stone, you know, and let me come in. So I speak that a lot to single women, you know, that I encounter and they meet and they go, you seem fine with life. I mean, I had a woman ask me once, she goes, I don't know if I believe you're really single. I said, trust me when I tell you, I would be the first to know. I said, I really am. And she said, you just don't act like a single woman. I said, well, I don't really know what that means. And she said, you just seem so settled and so fine. And I said, well, you know, at the end of the day, my life is not my own, and I'm his. I mean, even when I get married, and I believe the Lord has that for me, you know, that at the end of the day, I'm still pulling my peace, my joy, my fulfillment, my happiness, you know, from the Lord. And I believe walking in that is the best way you can set yourself up to step into a relationship with somebody for the rest
You know,
of
the word says,
Like what you saw? Make sure to comment and like below. Hit that subscribe button for more content uploaded weekly.